The Galactic Confederation ship emerged from hyperspace with elegant precision, its silver hull gleaming against the backdrop of Earth's atmosphere. Inside the vessel, Ambassador Baek Jin sighed and adjusted his formal suit one last time. First contact had occurred 6 months ago, when humans had accidentally intercepted a Confederation probe, but today marked the official welcome ceremony. "Nervous?" asked Lieutenant Moon Hai, his security officer. "Terrified," Jin admitted. "We're about to join a community of over 30 alien species. One wrong move and humanity becomes the galactic joke." The shuttle departed from the main vessel, carrying the human delegation toward the Confederation flagship, where representatives from 12 major species waited. Jin gazed out the viewport at Earth growing smaller behind them. Humanity had only developed faster than light travel 5 years ago, making them the newest potential members of the interstellar community. "Remember," Jin whispered to his team as the shuttle docked. Formal, respectful, and cautious. The airlock hissed open to reveal a cavernous reception hall. Aliens of various forms stood in precise arrangements, some tall with multiple limbs, others floating in containment fields, a few resembling nothing Jin could easily describe. High Counselor Atrix stepped forward. The alien had blue-gray skin and 3 sets of eyes arranged vertically. "Welcome, humans of Earth," Atrix spoke through a translation device. "Your species' rapid technological advancement has impressed our scientific community." Jin bowed deeply. "The people of Earth are honored by your presence and your consideration of our membership." The formal ceremony proceeded smoothly. Jin presented Earth's cultural gifts, digital libraries of human art, music, and literature. The Confederation representatives shared technological offerings, improved medical scanners, and environmental restoration techniques. Diplomats from both sides seemed pleased with the initial exchange. During the reception that followed, Jin carefully observed protocols. The various alien species had specific greeting customs and taboos. Some couldn't consume the same atmospheric conditions as humans, requiring separate chambers connected by transparent barriers. "You're doing well," whispered Moon Hai, appearing at his side. "The Plecarians seem especially interested in our delegation." Jin nodded. The plant-like Plecarians had extended their sensory vines toward the humans several times, which their briefing materials indicated was a sign of curiosity rather than aggression. As servers circulated with various specially prepared refreshments, Jin accepted a glass containing a blue liquid that was certified safe for human consumption. The substance tingled pleasantly as he sipped it. Suddenly, the ship's artificial gravity fluctuated. The Confederation engineers quickly adjusted the systems, but not before several drinks began floating from their containers. Diplomats from various species grabbed for their hovering beverages with appendages, tentacles, and telekinetic fields. Jin watched in horror as his own drink escaped, floating toward an important-looking Dravian diplomat. A collision with the amphibious alien's sensitive skin membranes could cause a diplomatic incident. Before Jin could react, Lieutenant Moon laughed and handed her own drink to a startled aide. "Hold my drink," she said cheerfully, then pushed off from the floor in a deliberate move. The reduced gravity allowed her to execute a perfect somersault through the air. With remarkable precision, she captured Jin's floating glass, then 2 more that had escaped from nearby diplomats, all while spinning gracefully through the reception hall. She landed perfectly beside the Dravian diplomat and offered a respectful bow while returning the saved beverages. The room fell silent. Jin held his breath, certain Moon's acrobatic display had violated some interstellar protocol. Then the Dravian's skin rippled with bands of bright color, their species equivalent of applause. Other aliens began making their own gestures of approval. The plant-like Plecarians extended their sensory vines fully toward Moon, their highest expression of interest. "Remarkable physical control," Atrix commented, approaching Jin. "Is such capability common among humans?" "Lieutenant Moon has specialized training," Jin explained diplomatically, "though humans do tend to adapt quickly to new physical challenges." "Fascinating," Atrix replied. Most species require generations to develop such adaptations. Later, as the delegation returned to their quarters, Jin pulled Moon aside. "That was incredibly risky," he whispered. "You could have caused an incident." Moon grinned. "But I didn't. Did you see how they responded? They were impressed." Jin couldn't argue with the results. The reception had transformed from a stiff, formal gathering to a genuinely warm exchange. He didn't know that across the ship, Atrix was making a notation in humanity's official species profile. "Caution. Demonstrates unpredictable risk assessment and remarkable physical adaptability. Potential asset in crisis situations, but requires careful observation." 5 years after Earth joined the Galactic Confederation, humans had found their niche in interstellar society. While other species excelled in fields like mathematics, philosophy, or biological engineering, humans quickly became known for something else entirely: tackling jobs that other species considered too dangerous. Captain Song Jiwoo stood on the bridge of her salvage vessel, the Hambit, studying the wreckage field before them. The remains of a Dravian research station floated in silent chaos, still emitting radiation warnings after a catastrophic reactor failure 3 days earlier. Confederation Safety Council has classified this as a Level 8 hazard zone. Her second-in-command, Officer Ryudu, reminded her. No survivors expected. Recovery deemed excessively dangerous by standard protocols. Jiwoo nodded calmly. And yet here we are. The Hanbit was one of 30 human-operated salvage vessels that had sprung up in the 2 years since humans discovered that what they considered acceptable risk was often viewed as reckless by Confederation standards. This dangerous work paid extremely well. "Life signs detected," announced Engineer Park Hyun from his console. "Faint, but present. 3 distinct signatures in the central hub section." Jiwoo leaned forward. "That section is still hot with radiation. Our suits can handle 20 minutes of exposure at those levels," Hyun replied. Officer Rio frowned. "The Confederation rescue teams already declared it impossible." "Impossible for them," Jiwoo corrected. "Suit up. We're going in." 30 minutes later, Jiwoo, Ryu, and Hyun moved carefully through the twisted corridors of the research station. Their specialized suits, manufactured on Earth specifically for human salvage teams, provided protection against radiation levels that would immediately harm most Confederation species. "Life signs stronger now," Hyun reported, checking his scanner. 10 meters ahead, behind that sealed door. The door was jammed, its power systems dead. Ryu attached a portable powered unit, while Jiwoo prepared manual override tools. Working together, they forced the heavy door open just enough to slip through. Inside, 3 Dravian scientists huddled in emergency containment pods that had preserved their lives but were now failing. The amphibious alien skin had dulled from its normal vibrant blue to a sickly gray. "Tell the medical bay to prepare for radiation treatment," Jiwoo ordered through her comm. "We need to move quickly." Carrying 1 Dravian each, the humans made their way back through the station as their suit warnings began to flash. They had exceeded their safe exposure window, but none mentioned turning back. When they finally returned to the Hanbit with the survivors, the ship's medical officer was waiting. "You cut it very close," she scolded, checking their exposure badges. "All of you will need treatment." "Worth it," Jiwoo said, watching as the medical team stabilized the Dravians. News of the rescue spread quickly through Confederation channels. 3 days later, the Hanbit docked at Starbase 17, where a delegation of Dravian officials waited to formally thank the crew. "Your actions defy conventional risk assessment," said the Dravian minister, skin rippling with bands of color expressing deep emotion. "No Confederation rescue team would have attempted such a recovery." "Humans have a saying," Jiwoo replied with a smile. "Sometimes you have to risk it for the biscuit." The translator struggled with the idiom, but the meaning was clear enough. Within months, human-operated companies expanded beyond salvage operations. Adrenaline tourism became popular among wealthy Confederation citizens who wished to experience controlled danger under human supervision. Human explorers pushed into regions of space that other species considered too hazardous to chart. Earth training academies began accepting non-human students brave enough to learn the human approach to dangerous situations. In the Confederation's Central Archives, humanity's species profile was updated for the third time in 5 years. The new entry read, "Humans exhibit remarkable tolerance for physical danger and unconventional risk assessment." While initially concerning, these traits have created a valuable economic niche. Recommend continued observation but acknowledge potential benefits to Confederation operations. Back on the Hambit, Captain Song reviewed their newest contract, recovering valuable technology from a gas giant's upper atmosphere, where pressure and electrical storms made conventional approaches impossible. The Safety Council rates this as Level 9. Officer Rio noted, "Even for us, that's pushing the limits." Juwoo studied the mission parameters, then looked at her crew. "What do you think?" "Too dangerous." Engineer Park Hyun grinned and rolled up his sleeves. "I think it's Tuesday, just another day at the office." The crew laughed as they began plotting their approach. Across the galaxy, the name human was becoming synonymous with a simple, powerful idea. When something seemed impossible, you called for human assistance. The emergency alarm echoed through Confederation headquarters, its urgent tone drawing officials from various species into the central chamber. On the massive display screen, red warning symbols marked the advance of the Vraxian Dominion fleet. 3 outer rim worlds had already fallen in less than a standard week. Admiral Kim Ta stood quietly at the back of the chamber, watching as representatives from 30 species argued over defensive strategies. Humans had only been Confederation members for 8 years, and the military hierarchy still treated them as juniors despite their growing reputation for handling dangerous situations. "Their shield technology makes conventional weapons ineffective," explained the Dravian fleet commander, skin flashing anxious patterns. "Our ships cannot penetrate their defenses. We must evacuate the border systems," suggested a floating Plicarian representative. "Retreat to defensive positions closer to core worlds." The debate continued without resolution as more emergency reports arrived. 2 more systems under attack. Confederation forces falling back on all fronts. Admiral Kim finally stepped forward. "I request permission to speak." High Counselor Atrix, who had been present for humanity's first contact ceremony years earlier, nodded recognition. "The human military representative may address the council." The Vraxian ships have superior shielding technology, but their sensors operate on standard Confederation frequencies, Kim stated calmly. "This gives us an opportunity." "Explain," demanded the silicoid general, crystalline appendages clicking with impatience. Kim activated his data pad, projecting a schematic of mining vessels used by human salvage companies. These ships were designed to operate in extreme conditions. Their hulls contain a specific alloy that absorbs sensor frequencies. The chamber grew quiet as understanding spread. "You propose using civilian mining vessels as military assets?" asked Itrix. "I propose using 20 modified mining ships to penetrate Vraxian defenses," Kim confirmed. "Their sensors won't detect our approach until it's too late." The silicoid general's crystals flashed red with alarm. "The casualty probability exceeds 90%. This plan guarantees pilot deaths." "Not with volunteers who understand the risks," Kim countered. "And we've already found those volunteers." The image on the display changed to show Captain Song Juwoo and 19 other human salvage captains, all standing at attention in their ship's bridges. "The Vraxians haven't encountered humans yet," Captain Song spoke through the comlink. "They don't know what we're capable of." After hours of debate, with Vraxian forces continuing their advance, the Confederation Council approved the desperate plan. The human mining fleet departed immediately, each vessel carrying a specialized payload designed to disable Vraxian shield generators. Admiral Kim stood in the command center, watching tactical displays as the small fleet approached the Vraxian armada near Outpost 7. The mining vessels appeared as faint signatures, barely visible even to Confederation sensors. First ships entering Vraxian defensive perimeter, reported the technical officer. No reaction from enemy vessels. The room fell silent as 20 small dots moved steadily toward the much larger Vraxian warships. Then chaos erupted. The mining vessels suddenly accelerated to maximum speed, each targeting a specific Vraxian ship. Proximity alarms blared through the Vraxian fleet too late. The mining ships deployed their specialized disruptors directly against the Vraxian shield generators. Multiple shield failures detected across Vraxian fleet, announced the technical officer, voice rising with excitement. Confederation forces moving to engage. The battle that followed was brief but decisive. With their shields disabled, the Vraxian ships fell quickly to Confederation weapons. After 8 days of unstoppable advance, the Vraxian invasion halted in a single engagement. When the human mining fleet returned, only 16 of the 20 vessels had survived. The crews emerged to heroes' welcomes throughout Confederation space. Species that had once viewed humans with caution now celebrated their gloriously reckless courage. In a private meeting after the victory celebration, High Counselor Atrix approached Admiral Kim and Captain Song. Your strategy was, Atrix paused, searching for the right word, unconventional. Captain Song smiled. Humans specialize in unconventional approaches. So we have observed, Atrix replied. The Confederation Council has voted to create a new tactical division under joint human leadership. We call it the Unconventional Solutions Command. Admiral Kim raised an eyebrow. You're putting humans in charge of military planning. Not entirely, Atrix clarified. But we recognize that some problems require what you might call a human perspective. As they spoke, reports arrived of Vraxian forces regrouping for another assault. The Confederation faced a long conflict ahead. Captain Song studied the tactical display. We'll need more mining ships, she said simply. You'll have them, promised Atrix. And whatever else you require. Throughout Confederation space, a new saying began to spread among military personnel. When conventional fails, ask a human. It started as a joke but quickly became standard protocol during crisis situations. The Vraxian Dominion would learn, too late, that they had awakened something unexpected in their new enemy. A species that transformed impossible situations into improbable victories, and did so with an unsettling enthusiasm for danger. Ambassador Han-Ji stood before the window of her office on Confederation Station Prime, watching ships from 30 different species moving through the docking patterns. 10 years after joining the Galactic Confederation, humans had become an unexpected but vital presence in interstellar affairs. Her communication console chimed with an urgent message. The holographic display showed High Counselor Atrix, their multiple eyes blinking in what Jai had learned was a pattern of extreme concern. Ambassador Han, we face a critical situation with the logicians, Atrix said without preamble. Jai straightened her posture. The logicians were a species of highly intelligent crystalline beings who processed information with perfect mathematical precision. They were also notoriously difficult in negotiations. What happened? She asked. They're threatening to withdraw from the Confederation over a resource distribution dispute in Sector 87, Atrix explained. Their representatives have rejected all proposed compromises as insufficiently logical and are preparing to depart within 3 standard days. G understood the implications immediately. The logicians controlled key transit routes, and their withdrawal would disrupt trade throughout the quadrant. I'll handle it, she said simply. 2 hours later, G arrived at the logician embassy, a structure of perfect geometric precision, with angles calculated to 14 decimal places. Inside, the temperature dropped to near freezing to accommodate the crystalline being's optimal function range. The Logician Prime, a towering formation of interconnected purple crystals, rotated slightly as Jai entered. Ambassador Han of Earth, the translator rendered the vibrations emanating from the crystal structure. Your presence is noted but unnecessary. Our decision is final and based on optimal calculation. Jai smiled. I understand mathematics is your specialty. Humans have different specialties. "We are aware of human risk tolerance and emotional decision processes," replied the logician. "These are precisely why your species cannot comprehend our position. The resource allocation formula we proposed is mathematically perfect. Perfect math doesn't always lead to perfect outcomes," Jay said, removing her formal diplomatic jacket and handing it to her aide. "Hold my drink," she added, passing her beverage container as well. The logician's crystals vibrated in what she recognized as confusion. This was not standard diplomatic protocol. Jay approached the center of the room where a holographic display showed the disputed sector. Instead of activating the mathematical models prepared by Confederation economists, she pulled out a small device from her pocket. "This isn't a data analyzer," she explained. "It's something humans call a music player." Before the logicians could object, Jai activated the device. The room filled with the sound of children laughing and singing, a recording from a multi-species education center in the disputed sector. "These are the actual beings affected by your perfect equations," Jai said quietly. 17 different species, including young logicians from your colony world." She changed the display to show images of children playing together. "This education center will close if trade routes are disrupted. These connections between our future generations will be broken." The logician prime remained silent, crystals pulsing with internal calculations. "Humans understand something about diplomacy it can't be calculated," Jig continued. "Sometimes the mathematically optimal solution fails because it doesn't account for connection, for community. Sentiment is not a variable in resource allocation," the logician finally responded, though G noticed the vibration pattern had changed subtly. "Then add it as a variable," she suggested. "Create a new equation that includes what we lose when we optimize only for resource efficiency." For 3 hours, Jay waited while the logicians communicated among themselves in frequencies humans couldn't perceive. Finally, the logician prime addressed her again. "We have recalculated with additional variables. The modified distribution plan will be acceptable. We will remain in the Confederation pending implementation of this new formula." 2 days later, Jay reported to the Confederation Council. The logicians had not only remained but had proposed a joint research initiative to develop more comprehensive resource allocation models. "Remarkable," said Councillor Derex of the Plecarians. "Our best negotiators made no progress with mathematical arguments." "Ambassador Han didn't use mathematics," Atrix observed. "She used what humans call emotional intelligence, something we're still trying to quantify." After the meeting, Atrix approached Gia privately. "The Council has voted to establish a specialized diplomatic division under human leadership. We're calling it the Unconventional Diplomacy Unit. Another way of saying send the humans when nothing else works," G asked with a smile. "Precisely," Atrix admitted. "Your species has a unique approach we've come to value." As Jai returned to her office, her console displayed 3 new diplomatic emergencies in different sectors. Each message ended with the same request: "Human diplomatic intervention requested." She smiled as she reviewed the cases. Throughout the Confederation, a new phrase had entered diplomatic language: "Hold my drink diplomacy," a term for the moment when formal protocols were set aside in favor of the direct, sometimes unconventional human approach that somehow managed to succeed where traditional methods failed. 15 years after Earth joined the Galactic Confederation, Admiral Kim 1 walked through the sprawling human quarter of Grand Station Alpha. What had begun as a small section for human diplomats and traders had grown into a vibrant cultural center that attracted visitors from across the galaxy. Alien species that once viewed humans with caution now sought their company. The sound of mixed laughter, some human, some decidedly not, echoed from cafes where beings from a dozen worlds shared meals and stories. Street signs appeared in multiple languages, with Earth's various languages prominently featured. One paused at a viewport, watching the space lanes bustling with traffic. A group of Dravian younglings, their skin flashing excited patterns, followed a human instructor who was teaching them basic zero-gravity maneuvers. "They grow more confident each day," said a familiar voice. One turned to find High Counselor Atrix approaching. The alien had been present at humanity's first contact ceremony and had witnessed humanity's journey from newcomers to essential members of the Confederation. "Counselor," one greeted with a respectful nod. "I didn't expect to find you in the human quarter." "I find it enlightening," Atrix admitted. 15 years ago, many council members feared your species would destabilize Confederation society with your risk-taking behaviors. Now I find Dravian children learning to perform human acrobatics and silicoid diplomats studying your unconventional negotiation techniques." They walked together toward the observation deck where a military ceremony was scheduled to begin soon. Officers from 20 species gathered in their formal uniforms, with humans notably represented among the highest ranks. "Humanity has found its place," one observed. "More than that," Atrix replied. "Humanity has changed us." The ceremony honored the fleet that had recently completed mapping the dangerous Coreward Passage, a region of space previously considered too hazardous to navigate. The expedition had been led by Captain Song Juwu, the same salvage captain who had helped turn the tide against the Vraxian Dominion years earlier. As Captain Song accepted her commendation, she called forward officers from 6 different species who had served on her vessel. "The success of our mission wasn't just human courage," she announced to the gathered crowd. "It was Plecarian intuition, silicoid precision, Dravian adaptability, and more. We all learned from each other." After the ceremony, one joined a small reception where Ambassador Han Ji, now serving as human representative on the High Council, was deep in conversation with delegates from worlds that had once been hesitant to interact with humans. "The Confederation combat games have been completely transformed," a silicoid commander was saying. "Our teams have adopted human training methods and improved performance by 42%. Our scientific expeditions now incorporate what we call calculated risk protocols based on human models," added a floating Plecarian researcher. "Discovery rates have doubled in dangerous environments." Ambassador Han smiled. "And humans have learned patience from the Plecarians, precision from the silicoids, and communal thinking from the Dravians. The exchange benefits everyone." One slipped away from the reception to meet with Atrix in a quiet corner of the observation deck. Below them, a training exercise was underway as ships from multiple species practiced complex formations. "The Vraxians have been quiet lately," one noted. "They learned their lesson about underestimating the Confederation," Atrix replied. "Particularly its human contingent." Before one could respond, emergency alarms sounded throughout the station. The main display activated, showing a massive spatial anomaly forming near a heavily populated system. "Unknown phenomenon," reported the station's eye. "Energy signatures exceed all recorded parameters." Officers rushed to their stations as Atrix received emergency updates through a personal communication device. The counselor's expression grew increasingly concerned. "Early analysis suggests the anomaly is consuming matter at an accelerating rate," Atrix explained. "If it continues expanding, 3 inhabited worlds could be threatened within days." The station shook slightly as the anomaly released a gravitational pulse that traveled through the sector. "High Council emergency session is convening," Atrix said, already moving toward the council chambers. Then the alien hesitated, removed their ceremonial leadership sash, and held it out to one. "Perhaps," Atrix said, in perfect imitation of human inflection, "you should hold my drink this time." One accepted the sash with a surprised expression. "The Council has unanimously voted to activate Protocol Human," Atrix explained. "In situations that defy conventional solutions, we now turn to humanity first." As they hurried toward the council chambers, one noticed something remarkable throughout the station. Species that would have once panicked were responding with calm determination. Officers from worlds known for extreme caution were volunteering for frontline assignments. The galaxy had indeed adapted. The hold my drink spirit that had once been uniquely human had spread through the Confederation, creating a civilization that faced impossible challenges not with fear, but with determination and even a touch of excitement. A new age had begun, and it had started with those simple words that had once raised the galaxy's danger meter. "Hold my drink."